Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another Fighter Heart podcast. Today, we're getting to sit down with Kaitlyn. How's it going, Kaitlyn?
Good. How are you doing?
Thanks for showing up. I think you have the best setup of anyone so far, for
Oh
sure.
my gosh, thank you. It's an honor.
It looks so cool.
Thank you.
Uh, so,
I'm really excited to be here. Thank you for talking with me.
yeah, we're excited to have you learn a little bit more about learn about your story in general. So, if you could, you give us a little brief rundown about who you are, a little bit, maybe where you grew up, and then get into your Fighter Heart story, and we'll take it from there.
Yeah, so I'm Kaitlyn Rohde. I originally am from the Minneapolis area. I recently moved to Nashville, Tennessee last year, which is a big move for my story. We'll get into that. But I have chronic illness. I have, I think, over 10 different diagnoses, and I grew up kind of sick all the time, didn't feel well. And then as I got older, the symptoms kind of increased, and there was a lot of dismissal throughout the medical community, a lot of not taking things seriously. So I started a podcast called Sick I Swear to kind of raise awareness, share stories of people that are chronically ill, have invisible disabilities, experience a lot of medical gaslighting. It's for everyone, but I do feel like women are mainly targeted when it comes to like the gaslighting. Not to dismiss men by any means, they experience it too, but for whatever reason, we have more chronic conditions. So yeah, and I started that a couple months ago, and it's been really cool to see how big of a community that actually exists.
For sure, that's interesting. So you're saying like gaslighting, like by doctors, like they're saying like basically it's in your head, you're not sick or something.
Totally. Yep. They just kind of dismiss it with depression, anxiety. It's a lot of, it's just anxiety. It's in your head. And a lot of the times that's very much so not the case. And it has taken years and years and years to get proper diagnoses. And I've had to learn self-advocacy, which is something that was difficult. But I think that is like one of the biggest adversities that chronically ill people and invisibly ill people have to overcome is I'm sorry, I just lost my train of thought.
Like basically going getting through the gaslighting part,
The
like
gaslighting, yeah.
yeah.
And the brain fog is very real here. That's just a real thing.
That's
Um,
what I was gonna say. What growing up, what are like some symptoms you had? And then what did the doctors tell you at that point?
I had a lot of gut issues. I had a lot of stomach aches. My body just didn't feel good overall. My muscles were just always sore and tense. I had a lot of migraines. And as I got older, it was probably like 2017. It was when it was actually like taken seriously. And I started going to the doctor when I was like 4 years old for all this stuff. And come to find out, a lot of it is genetic, which makes sense why I wasn't feeling well at the beginning. Um, but the huge turning point, I was in a bike accident in 2020, and that kind of launched a lot of my illnesses. Like they existed prior, but that really kind of increased all my symptoms, and it's
Mm.
when I started living in the hospitals.
So what happened with the bike accident? Was it were you riding, you crashed into a car, or how did that what occurred here?
So, okay, I was going downhill. My odometer clocked in at like 20 miles per hour, so I was going pretty fast, and I got stung by a bee on my way down, and so my reflexes, yeah, my reflexes kind of just launched me off my bike, and I skidded down that pavement and had a lot of like lesions and like outside issues. But it kind of my body just never came out of a state of trauma. It kind of just it held onto the trauma and it launched all of my genetic issues, which was kind of like a blessing in disguise because I would have never probably have gotten the diagnoses as quick as I did had I not have that bike accident.
So did you go to the hospital like on the spot?
Yep. And I didn't know this at the time. They didn't check me for it because I was wearing a helmet. And I didn't think I hit my head, but I really have no idea. I blacked out, you know? Um, I did have a concussion and it wasn't treated properly. So it went into something called post-concussion syndrome, which can last anywhere from months to years, and it kind of just you're slower at processing, you have a lot of head issues, cognitively you are a little slower, and I feel like it's gotten better, but I still feel like I struggle with the concussion syndrome.
Yeah. So when you got to the hospital, um, I guess did you wake up? Did you have to have like a surgery or anything, or like
I
were
was
you
conscious.
conscious? Okay.
I was conscious when I went. I They kind of just did like so the funny thing is it was a medical student, which you have to learn somewhere, right? But in this case and scenario, it had to have been like her first day. She did not know what
To do.
how to what to do, how to treat anything. So it was dismissed from like the beginning. And I don't want to say it's because like she just like didn't believe me or didn't want to treat me because there was very much so like injuries. She just had no idea what to do. And that was not good for my scenario. But um, they kind of just put, honest to God, they gave me ibuprofen and put band-aids on me.
And then they let you go the same day?
Yeah. Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
So then where did the diagnoses come in? Because this is what sparked it, right?
Yep. So I had a lot of knee issues afterwards. And that was kind of my first avenue. I had orthopedic surgeons kind of check things out and come to find out I have like a lack of cartilage in my knees. So I had to do a procedure. It's called a MACI, where they take a biopsy of your cells and they basically grow cartilage in a lab. And then they have another surgery where they just inject it back into my knee. And that is like a very intense surgery. And that is kind of when we started to realize that I had lack of collagen, connective tissue, which is one of my genetic disorders called Ehlers-Danlos Syndrome.
Oh wow. I just interviewed someone else with Ehlers-Danlos last.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's crazy how many people actually have it. Like nobody, it's starting to become more of a thing that's talked about and diagnosed, which is great.
Yeah, for sure. She's like an advocate as well.
hmm
So how do you treat it? Like, there's no treatment, right?
No, nope. It's a treat. It's lifestyle management. It's just, you go do your injections and do your physical therapy and medication management. But it's lifelong. You just have to figure out how to navigate it and deal with your new life, basically.
So was that in like 2021, I guess, or still 2020 when they diagnosed you?
I didn't get diagnosed with Ehlers-Danlos until 2023.
Oh wow, 3 years later.
Yeah.
Oh geez. So what's your day-to-day life look like at this point? Like, is there like physical therapy involved and stuff?
A lot of physical therapy. As you go through the journey, I mean, I'm 5 years in from like when things like really took off for me.
Mm.
So I've taken like a lot of the physical therapy and have done it at home. A lot of injections. I have to go in every like 6 weeks for injections. I get Botox for my migraines. I'm on various medications. And then actually like a huge changing thing for genetic disorders and anything in general is functional medicine, where they actually get down to the root cause as to why my gut's off or why my muscles are feeling the way that they are. And they tell you things that like normal medical doctors wouldn't. And that's been a huge changing part in my journey.
Yeah, so aside from Ehlers-Danlos, did I say it right? I hope.
Yeah, yep.
What else are you diagnosed with anything else yet, or they're still trying to figure it out?
Yeah, I have chronic migraine, fibromyalgia, post-concussion syndrome, Ehlers-Danlos, chronic fatigue syndrome, multiple chemical sensitivity and mold toxicity. So
Mm.
you're just like basically allergic to the world.
Mm.
Um, TMJ. Um,
That's your jaw, right?
yep. And that's like something that kind of comes along with Ehlers-Danlos.
Oh,
Um, cervical facet joint syndrome. My facet joints in my back and my neck are just on fire all the time. And then I have like the mental illnesses, which is like the ADHD, the OCD, depression, and anxiety. So overall, I think it totals like 14 different diagnoses, and we're still working on them because it seems as though there's a lot of medical mysteries out there these days.
Did they ever try and tell you to like go to a chiropractor?
Yeah, so the functional medicine is like a dual guy. He's a chiropractor and functional medicine, so definitely heavy in the chiropractor world.
Oh, okay. So you get adjusted like every how often?
Um, right now I'm not doing my adjustments because I haven't found the right chiropractor since my move down to Nashville. When I was in Minneapolis, I was doing it like every week.
Oh, wow.
Hmm.
I watched these guys on YouTube shorts and they really crack them like they
They
do some
can
crazy things. They wrap the thing around your neck and like pull your whole neck.
they can get in there, yeah.
Yeah, it's wild. So tell us a little about your podcast. I'm sure this falls in line with your life.
It does. It does
Yeah.
very much so. Yeah, so the podcast is Sick, I Swear, and it kind of comes from always having to convince people that you're sick rather than people just believing you when you tell them. A lot of that comes from the medical gaslighting, and I think a lot of us who are chronically ill have experienced medical gaslighting from a very young age. So I wanted to create a space to further community, to feel like we can vent to each other, share each other's stories, see how much we actually do have in common, and just kind of start to normalize things a little bit more, take some stigma off, have just real and raw conversations, and
Awesome.
advocate.
Yeah, do you have guests or it's just you?
Both.
Oh,
I have guests. I have released some with guests, some by myself, and it's new, so we're still rolling with it. But yeah, it's both me and guests.
like doctors, are they like people in the field and stuff?
I'm gonna have guests all over the board, definitely professionals, medical professionals, and then people that just experience chronic illness day to day.
What was it like growing up? Like, did your parents support you in like did they affirm you what you thought was true, not what the doctors said?
I, my parents were great. They also just had no idea. They were kind of just believing what the doctor said too, because how are they supposed to know any different?
Yeah.
Um, it wasn't until my later years where they're like, oh, okay, like you have some things going on.
Gee,
Um,
it's
yeah,
so wild.
because I would miss school a lot, and I also struggled heavily with anxiety. That was a real thing for me too. So the anxiety kind of just took over everything else that was going on physically. So when I would miss school, they would think it was just because of my anxiety or I
You're
didn't want to
trying to,
go or get out
yeah.
of school, but I really didn't feel good.
Mm, jeez. So what's your day in the life look like now? Like you wake up around when? What do you do?
Yeah, it kind of depends. My life is doctor's appointments, advocating for myself on the phone with doctors, getting medications right. So it depends. I mean, a lot of the times I have morning appointments. I usually have at least 5 appointments a week. I do the podcasting stuff. It's a good creative outlet. I do the editing, the producing, scheduling, get all the guests on and stuff like that. So I do a lot of that during the day. And then Nashville, I have a good community of friends. Back home, I had friends, but they weren't like my close girlfriends. So I do hang out with my friends a lot and my animals, and it's been really great. And it's been a good adjustment because it gives me some independence from somebody who needed so much help 3 years ago.
Yeah, so you're living on your own over there.
My best friend just moved in with me, but I was living alone for a while. Yeah.
Oh, wow. So your like best friend, meaning like this is someone you met in Nashville, or like they moved there as well from your hometown?
Hometown.
Oh, wow, that's
Hmm.
great. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So you're bringing the whole crew down down south.
Yes.
That's awesome. You said you have animals. What kind of animals you got?
I have a French bulldog and I have two cats. And then my best friend has a Chihuahua dog
Oh,
too.
geez, a bulldog and a chihuahua. They're gonna get along.
It's a good time.
I could imagine. So what's next? What's the plan for the future? Like, what's your big vision here? And do they ever tell you like any of your illnesses like that they can be cured or like are they all just uncurable?
A lot of them, I'm sorry, my dog is barking. A lot of them are just you live with them. They are have to be managed. So there's not cures, which is the really hard part about it. And as medicine advances and there's different technology, we can hopefully create more symptom relief with that. But it's managing.
Got you. So we like to always ask this question. What if you could speak to your younger self? This might be a big one for you. If you could speak to your younger self and tell her something, or someone else that's gone through something similar, maybe they get gaslit a lot with this from the doctors. What's some advice you wish you would have had back then?
Trust your body. You know your body better than anybody else. And if somebody is telling you that there's something not wrong with it, go get another opinion. Find somebody that does believe you because chances are you're not wrong. And I really wish I had that to listen to and somebody to tell me that when I was younger. And just self-advocacy is going to be so important for this journey. And you need to have the confidence within yourself, trust yourself that what you're going through is real.
Got you. Awesome. So, what are the plans for the future? Grow the podcast, keep
Yeah,
advocating.
keep advocating. Disability advocacy is something that I'm really passionate about, especially with the invisible disabilities. And yeah, continuing the podcast and rock it out.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for taking the time. I see your chihuahuas here now.
It,
Sitting right
it's
next to you.
it's a free range zoo over here.
Awesome. Thank you so much again. And we're definitely going to check out Sick, I swear, for sure.
Thank you. Thank you very much for having me. It's been great to talk to
All right. Same here. Oh, it's a bulldog.
you.
A
Yeah.
French bulldog. Okay.
Yeah, he's
I'm
here.
thinking I'm thinking the bulldog. Okay.
Oh no, he's
So
main character energy.
they're both pretty little then.
Yeah, yeah.
So cute. Everyone else, thank you again for listening to another Fighter Heart podcast. We'll see you again next week.